What is going on, you guys? My name is Cody Thixton, and this is Interesting Podcast. Coming to you guys on July 17th, 2023 for episode 63, where today we have another very, very special guest. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's get right into this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the return of ZAYE Perez.
Let's go. Thank you for having me, Cody. Thank you for having me back. It's awesome to be
Yeah,
here.
dude, it is freaking awesome to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's just maybe start out for maybe any of the new viewers. Maybe introduce your name, where you're from, and how long you've been in pro wrestling.
Yeah, so my name is Zay Perez. I train at wrestling. I started 2 years ago, which it was like I just hit my 2 years anniversary, and yeah, 2 years ago today I started my first day of pro wrestling practice.
That is insane. That is
Yeah.
so cool. So like what would you say is like the most thing that is the most fun when it comes to actually training at Oregon Pro Wrestling School?
I say honestly, I like the people just around it. The people just make what the school is, and it makes it what like it's enjoyable about it. And obviously the coaches, Ricky, Eddie, Flex, everyone just around the school just makes it so perfect, and it's so nice to be around because everyone's trying to push each other to move forward and get through the success career. So yeah.
That is so cool. So I also heard that like when you go and you are a part of Oregon Pro Wrestling School that they really try to make it like a family environment. So like how is that kind of like stepping into
Yeah.
like you kind of having, your own personal family on the outside, but then when you go in there like you now have this group of people that is almost like a family. So like how is that kind of doing that with
Right.
going to school?
I mean, yeah, coming into wrestling, I felt like I only had one family, and then today I have two. I feel like I can just count on anybody in that school to like if I had a actually this weekend I had a pop wheel and I could count on our referee Brad. He saved me this last weekend. So I love everybody that is in that school because honestly everyone's there just there for each other. No one looks at it as like we're not related because at the end of the day we're all there for each other. We're all pushing each other. We're just a family. We're just a big family. And it feels awesome just to have that second family just by my side.
That is so cool. Yeah, I noticed on Twitter that either, one of the trainers at OPWS was taking this video of like everybody kind of doing like shoots and ladders is what you guys called it.
Right.
So like what was
Yeah.
one I guess sequence that you had to go through as far as training that maybe was a little bit difficult? Because it seemed like the shoots and ladders, like when you have to kind of go off on your knees and then go off onto the other one, like sometimes that can be a
Right.
little bit difficult. So like was there ever one
The
practice
shoots
that was difficult?
the, right. The shoots and I felt like was the easiest thing at the practice. I felt honestly because it's
Hmm.
just learning the footwork. But like when it comes to like in the ring, you have to learn how to like, breathe in the ring. You have to learn how to take moves. So I felt like one of the workouts that we do, it's like terrible, terrible, terrible. And but it gets like your breathing going. It gets you like learning how to breathe in the ring. So yeah, you just have to go over this body bag, hit the ropes like 20 times, and I'm telling you, it is the most difficult workout I've ever done. Ever, and it gets you like breathing heavy, 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 and I honestly I dread that workout anytime they write it on the whiteboard saying that we're gonna do it. Because yeah, I felt like that workout's pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. So here's an interesting question. So like if somebody were to ever be wanting to become a professional wrestler or go into OPWS, what kind of advice would you give them if they wanted to get themselves into good shape? Like is there like a structured regime that you would kind of go through to maybe prepare somebody a little bit?
I was that kid who was scrawny in high school, who was scrawny like throughout their life, and I felt like I could never become a pro wrestler, so I felt like that option was out of my mind. But like I felt like if you have that dream, go do it, dude. Like honestly, like go work out, go do whatever you need to do to get in that body shape because you need those requirements to get in there. So I felt if you're gonna do it, just do it, dude. Just do it. Drop whatever you're doing. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that. Just, think safely and step ahead and yeah, just go for your dream because that was my dream and I was that scrawny kid and I worked out and now I'm here today and I felt like working out back in the day I felt like working out you didn't need to do it but you need to do it for it to do with your wrestling career.
Mhm. That is so cool. So, here's a question and something I wanted to bring up to you, just because like you do work with Eddie Pearl and Ricky Gibson often, and you're in a tag team. So,
Right.
like, what was one thing that they had done that you guys kind of drew inspiration from, and you were like, we kind of want to bring those things also to our pro wrestling matches whenever we're performing?
Right. Obviously, when you think of the Midnight Heat, they're obviously the bad guys. So, me and Spencer, when we have to be bad guys, when we have to like, be that person, and we don't like somebody, we have to be like the Midnight Heat. So we have to take some of their tactics, some of their moves, some of whatever they do. So some of our moves are a little, just like a little influenced by Midnight Heat. So I guess we kind of did take their cheating tactics, kind of, I guess. But I wouldn't say it was cheating. So yeah. No, but they
Oh,
obviously helped us with a lot of tag team. I felt like Spencer and I wouldn't be here without the Midnight Heat. The Flamin' Aces would not be here without the Midnight Heat. Let's put it that way.
that is so interesting. Yeah, we'll have to get into that in a little bit. So I was
Right,
watching one of your matches, and you had gone to do this tope suicida, like to the outside. And one thing that I wanted
right,
to bring up to you was I don't know if it was during the pandemic or whatever, but Ricky Gibson and Eddie Pearl, they were kind of doing like this match like within a house, right? And Ricky Gibson was standing outside of the house, and Eddie Pearl like did like a tope like through the window, and like the margin of
right.
error for like that to actually occur is insane.
Yikes. Oh
So
my God.
yeah,
Right,
he is so good. So it's like how is it kind of doing those moves and then knowing like the margin of error if you don't get it correctly and like
right,
really hammering those things down. So like how is that as a performer and gaining that confidence to make those moves?
right. No, so here's the thing with me too. I have a big fear of doing like big moves like that. Like I would love to do like what Jaden does, the big high flying moves. But I obviously have that fear of, breaking my neck or something like that. So you always have that fear in the back of your head. But when I go up there for like the corner and do my drop kick, I just I just send it, honestly. I just think about I'm just like, okay, it's gonna hurt them. I'm gonna get the win, so I just do it. And I go up there and I just gain the confidence. And this last weekend actually, all the boys, Jaden, Max, Burnside, Spencer, and we all went to the trampoline park just to, get that fear out of our heads. Just to try a little new moves. Try to, so you might see a little high Zay Perez. Like a little high flying Zay Perez.
That is so
So
awesome.
coming soon.
That is
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about you actually delivering the drop kick. And I was going to ask like how does it feel to like be like up on the turnbuckle and then know that like you have to first time it correctly and then you have to hit that person in like
Right.
the perfect position. So it's like when you're going to do all of those things like what is like running through your head as far as like when you just said like you just do it. Is there anything that kind of runs through your mind?
Right. When I'm going up there, when I'm putting my two little legs up there, my two little feet, my heart's beating so fast and it's just beating through my heart. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. But then I look at them and I'm just like, okay, they're right there. If I hit them perfectly, then I'm good. But if I hit him bad, and I think you can tell on my face when I look up, like from the drop kick when I get up, I think you can tell by my face if I hit it correctly, if I didn't hit it correctly. If I like mad, then I didn't hit it correctly. But if I like happy, at the end of the day, I did good.
Oh man, that is awesome. So, you go by Playboy Zay Perez. So, who gave you the Playboy
Right.
nickname?
I think I kind of just took it and ran with it. I felt like someone just saw me and I forgot who it was, but someone just looked at me and just said Playboy. I was like, you know what? That's a pretty good idea. But then also Playboy Buddy Rose was also in the history of the PNW, so I also have to give the acknowledgement to him because he's the first one. So now it's like I felt like it's like that second generation Playboy, second
Yeah,
generation. So. Yeah, honestly, I don't remember who gave it to me, but I just remember just hearing it and I just ran with it.
yeah. So, was there anything that Max Burnside had kind of told you about Buddy Rose that kind of coordinated with you, and you're like, that is perfect.
You know what? I've heard a lot of stuff about uh Playboy Buddy Rose. I feel like some of the wrestlers were actually trained by him today. Drexel was actually one of those wrestlers. Yeah, I felt like our generation today is influenced by him, so it's awesome to see. And it's like I wish I got the opportunity to see him live, but sadly I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So you actually performed this last weekend with Drexel, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I
So like how
did.
yeah, how did that match go?
It did go my way. You know what? Drexel has a good repertoire, I would say, of wrestling. He got me good, and you know what? It's no blood, so next Relentless show, if you're in Spokane, Washington, it's gonna be the Flamin' Aces Most Violent in an Extreme Rules No DQ match. So
Nice.
be there. Yeah.
That is so cool. So, one thing I wanted to bring up to you that I find really interesting is that every time that you kind of like lay up against the ropes, or like even when like you kind of do like that whole pose, it kind of reminds me of
Right.
like Eddie Guerrero. So, like, is he like a major influence
Right.
with you as far as like those aspects of your character?
I think Eddie Guerrero has to do with a lot of the school of OPW because I felt like Eddie Guerrero really influenced just the wrestling in OPW. So yeah, I felt like that was a little bit of him, but I felt like honestly, I don't know, I just saw it a lot throughout when I was a kid, and I was just like, you know what, I want to do that when I become a wrestler, so I did it.
That is so cool. So, like, how was it like going from
Yeah,
being a fan of professional wrestling and then really getting into it, and then you get to kind of like create your own character? Like, what was going through your mind when somebody
right.
finally came to you and was like, "Okay, now it's time for your character development." Like, what were you initially thinking? Like, did you think that you would actually be like what you are today?
All right. I think no, I did not. I think when I was a kid, I used to love playing the games, and on the games they have like the body types, and I would always make my guy big. And obviously in real life you can't do that. So I kind of just had to base it off what I think I looked like, what I wanted to be. It's basically me just times 10. So my character is me, but it's like a more like hyped up version of me, basically.
That is so cool.
So I don't know. I feel like it's pretty difficult to come up with that character, honestly.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it like as a fan.
Mhm. Yeah. So like actually like being a fan and knowing like how you felt when you were looking at the professional wrestlers that were major when you were actually watching it. And then how does it feel to now know that like you have fans and like you bring the same exact feeling to people that maybe you felt when you were younger watching professional wrestling?
It's crazy. Honestly, I didn't think I would have any fans coming to wrestling, and it's just crazy to see the influence that me and Spencer are just leaving on people, and I'm just so thankful for it, honestly. I'm thankful for the opportunities that we're getting. Honestly, thank you guys so much for supporting me and Spencer. Yeah, but I can't do anything but just say thank you.
Yeah, that is so cool. So, I know when I was actually talking to Spencer and I had accidentally kind of brought up that, the Super Ace has already been formed, even though like I just saw like a post on Twitter and I was like, oh, like they had already
Right,
done it, but they hadn't. So it's like, and he said that like you guys had been forming it for a few months now. So like when did that
right,
first
right.
conversation kind of start up where you're like, man, if we like combined both characters, we can really like make like a faction. Like when did that whole conversation start?
Er, I think it honestly started when me and Spencer and Jane all started to get super close. At first we weren't super close. I felt like we knew about each other, but we didn't like talk to each other. But instantly from the get-go, we got along, and we started playing games together. We started playing like Switch together, and I felt like started spending time together throughout the shows, and we started having that conversation of, you know what, maybe we should do something, and the Super Races became a thing, and now to today. You know what? And I love those boys, and those are my guys.
That is so awesome. So like what was there like certain aspects that like maybe like you or um Scott or Jaden had kind of been like, let's kind of do this and like kind of put the like their 2 cents into what you guys should be. So it's like, is there what like anyone that was like really like monumental as to really forming the Super Aces?
It was just something we all wanted to do, but most like out of all of us, I felt like Jaden was the one that was just like, you know what, let's do something. And he was the one that came up with the whole Super Races idea. And he told Spencer and I, and we were just like, you know what, this is a really good idea. And we did it, and it's a good idea. Here we are today.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so cool. So, well, another thing that I wanted to ask you, um, was it there was this one point in my cooking career where I had gone to
Right,
a restaurant and like they were just like, okay, like now here's your kitchen, so just go and do it. And so like I had to come up with like the soup and the the special that day and make sure that they can actually make money off of it. So like it was a lot of
right.
pressure to go out and actually do it. So like was there that one point where like somebody came to you and was like, I want you to coordinate this match. I want you to make this match good. And like what was running through your mind when somebody actually told you that like those were the circumstances that they wanted you to do?
Right. Obviously at Oregon Pro Wrestling, there's, newbies who are just coming up and training. Every Tuesday, every Friday, we often do matches. So it's like you're kind of leading them through that match, and you're kind of guiding them through that match so they learn, and you're kind of just like basically just them through that match. I don't know. But yeah, I guess that last weekend with Drexel, I didn't have Spencer by my side. So it's super weird, just I guess it was super weird for me having not Spencer by my side, because I'm always so used to tagging him, him doing his part, but it was just all me. It was just all me in that match. It kind of scared me a little bit. So I
Mhm.
kind of just like had to sit down, be like, what can I do? What can I do? And yeah, you kind of just have to think of it from like the outside perspective of the whole match, how you want it to go, how the reaction's gonna be. So yeah, I felt like I don't know. I don't know. Did that answer your question in a
Yeah, yeah.
way? I would say.
Yeah. No, that is totally cool. I was actually going to bring up
Right.
to you about Spencer, and I know like in not only your My Story video, but the last time that we had talked, you had said that like Spencer Scott, like he's a really really good pro wrestler. So like, what is one
Right.
aspect that he brings to your guys' matches that you just absolutely admire the most?
I think Spencer, I saw him this last weekend, and I was just like, you know what? This guy is a professional wrestler. Like, that's not Spencer Scott in there. That's a professional ass wrestler.
Hmm.
So I has it all down. I felt like Spencer is the whole package, and that's what makes our tag team. I felt like he's always the guy that comes up with the new ideas. He's always the guy that, is working harder in the ring to become better. And that's what I want as a tag partner. And I didn't think Spencer was going to be like that when we became a tag team because we were just put together, but he's the most incredible tag team I've ever met, and I couldn't trade him for the whole world, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's kind of talk about DOA like schools out, because I know that like that kind of match kind of got cut a little bit short. So maybe if you could explain to people exactly what happened.
Right. Um, it was me and Spencer against Charlie and Austin Oso, the Dregs, and it I can't remember what happened, but I think Charlie gave me up and over, so I went over the ropes and I landed on my knee and I tweaked my knee, so it took me out of the whole match, and I felt so bad because Spencer was just like, I can do it, I can do it. And I was just like, I don't want you to do it. You can't do this alone. And he was like, no, I got this. And then
Mhm.
they took me to the back, and I just watched Spencer from the back. And Spencer sadly didn't do it, but he did fucking amazing. He did it
Yeah.
so freaking well.
Yeah.
But Dregs are gonna freaking get it, dude. This next Dregs match, I swear to God, Charlie and Austin Oso,
Oh
ooh, they have it
man.
coming for them.
No, that is so
They mess
awesome.
with the wrong aces, I swear to God.
Yeah, I was actually going to tell you that like that whole situation was actually kind of like a blessing in disguise, because like watching it when I was watching it on IWTV, it was like the most perfect moment where Spencer Scott could really show his ability in the ring. You know what I mean? To like
Right.
go into a match and have it where like you guys already kind of have something coordinated as a tag team. And then for something to happen and then for him to be pinned against two different opponents and still be able to make a match that is good, it's insane. He did
Right.
an amazing performance.
I know, and I said from the very beginning, Spencer is like one of the best the PNW has ever seen, and I felt like I had him, like I was the only one that knew about him, but I felt like now the whole world is starting to know about him, and it's crazy to see, and he's starting to become bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's awesome just to see.
Yeah, that is so cool. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about, just because like you seem like a really confident person, like you can carry yourself with that. And I was just wondering, like,
Thank
if
you, I
you
really
had,
appreciate that.
yeah, if you had any advice for maybe anybody who is maybe struggling with confidence or finding something about themselves, like what advice would you give somebody who is maybe struggling with something like that?
At the end of the day, you're just there by yourself. It's you, and you're the only person, and you just have to know your worth, I bet. Like at the end of the day, it's just you. It's no one else, just you. You're the only one you care about. You're the one that can change what you do. You can be the only one who can actually like make yourself feel better. So don't take what other people say and make it like your own, I guess. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like don't care about what other people say because at the end of the day, it's just you, no one else. You're not someone else, and no one, you don't need to care about somebody else's opinion. I was that scrawny guy in high school. I was that scrawny guy in elementary, and I was always that flamboyant guy. And it always just like, I always didn't have confidence as a kid. And it always got to me. I'm just like, you know what? How come I can't be like them? How come I can't have as many friends? And it changed. It changed as I went throughout life, and um, it's actually a really funny story. But I back in the day, I used to work at Dutch Bros, and I felt like that kind of changed me, and it brought out that confidence in me because it kind of just gave me. I always had that dream of becoming that pro wrestler. And it kind of just gave me that gas for that fuel, just like boost it, just for that car, just to go on that trip to become a pro wrestler. And here I am.
Yeah, that is so cool. So, I know the last time that we had talked, you were kind of bringing up that one thing that you were kind of actively working on was your promo abilities. So, like when
Right,
I know you and Spencer had done a promo where like you guys like bust out of the door and he comes over and he starts cutting his promo and you're just kind of just being there. Is there anything that you guys kind of tell each other before you guys actually are like, okay, now direct, boom, let's go out
right.
and let's do it. Is there anything that he kind of says to you to help you out a little bit?
You know what? When it comes to promos, I always tell Spencer, I'm just like, you know what? You can have the mic time, or sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit confident, then I'll be like, hey Spencer, I think I could do this. But
Mhm.
I think Spencer, having him by my side just already gives me that confidence to speak on the mic. So I felt like lately I've been on that mic talking, and I don't know if you can hear, but you can hear my voice kind of shaking, and that's what gets me a little bit nervous. Just hearing that shaky voice is what gets me a little bit nervous. But lately, it's been kind of good. So, you can see me cutting promos soon at the Away Pal anywhere.
Nice. That is freaking awesome. Yeah, you had just brought up like
Yeah.
kind of like shaking those nervousness. And one thing I wanted to ask you, and so like it's usually about like 3 hours before I actually like am about to go and interview somebody that like the nerves like really start to kick in. And then about like an hour before,
Right.
like my hands get all sweaty and I have to sit there and like wipe them off and kind of calm myself down a little bit. So it's like, how do you go about
Right.
calming that nervousness before you actually go out and perform?
So when I just I'm in the back and I'm thinking about the match, I'm always just thinking about my family. And in my family it's always my relaxing thought. It's always my calming thought. And I feel like they kind of just have like that hold on me, just like, hey, you're safe. Like, go out there and do this. So I feel like that's what I often think about. But also, I was thinking about this on the trip, but I have like this one thing that I do, and it involves a mirror. But when we go on trips, we have this like tradition, or like not a tradition, please do it, where we sing the song by Bruno Mars, Versace on the Floor. And if I don't sing that song, then I feel like the trip doesn't go well. So we always have to sing that song for it to go well.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one thing I know I wanted to bring up you guys kind of like wrestling in Nevada and you guys like kind of traveling together with other pro wrestlers. Was there like one memory of you actually traveling where it was like that was the most fun?
Right. Um, Honestly, this last weekend with Jaden, it was so much fun, and he has a lot of footage of it on his camera, so I think he's gonna do some vlog with it. Um, but yeah, honestly, with all of Jaden's vlogs, I feel like those were all the times I often had fun. So I feel like Jaden just captured them all in his vlog. So if you
Mhm.
just want to watch him, just go on his YouTube channel, honestly.
Yeah, and just for anybody out there who is interested, it's actually at This Is Jaden on YouTube. Go and check out his channel. It is awesome.
Yes.
So
Awesome.
how
And that guy
I know.
is, he took us on. Sorry, I was just going off about Jaden, but he is awesome. He took us under his wing, and I love that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I also saw like on multiple times like throughout the vlog that you will kind of like steal the vlog and then just go and like kind of like do your thing a little bit. And maybe that's one
Right,
question.
and Jaden, he
No.
hates it. He hates it.
Yeah, I saw him like come up and like smack you with a chair to like get the camera back.
Oh, yes, he did. I totally forgot about that.
Oh, that is so awesome. So maybe that's one question that you can answer, just because I'm pretty sure that there are people out there that are interested. Is like will we ever get a Playboy vlog at some point?
Ooh, that'd be fun. I would love to, but I don't know. I don't know if I could. I think Jane has that personality.
Mhm.
I think that you'll often see just like hidden like videos, not hidden videos, but like videos I just released of just like, just the journey of wrestling. But yeah, maybe just something on my social media just as a funny character stuff, but I don't know if I could do a vlog. Vlogs are just Jaden stuff, sadly.
That is cool. So let's talk about Brace Brawl a little bit. So like how was
Oh
that
yes.
whole event like working down in Eugene, and like did you like sit there and watch the baseball game before the wrestling show?
Yeah, it was crazy. Just that experience. They were all so nice too. With the whole just venue, just sharing the venue, they were all so nice. And yeah, I've never been to a baseball game, so just seeing that live was crazy. And just seeing the whole POW just event poster just on the whole LED board was crazy. And it felt like it was such a surreal moment that I was just like, I just take a step back and just like, wow, this is actually happening. So yeah.
That is crazy. So like how did it feel like knowing that there were that many people like at the event, and but then them knowing that there was an event that was going to be held afterward, and then just knowing that all of
Right.
these people are now being exposed to PAL Pro Wrestling, even if they're not pro wrestling fans, and you are a part of that. So like how does that feel as a
Right.
performer?
At the beginning when they told us that we were gonna perform at the baseball stadium, it was crazy because I didn't think that there was gonna be many like people staying afterwards. And we all just talked about it. All the wrestlers among themselves just talked about, we're only gonna have like, probably 100 people, but there was a whole lot of people staying after the game, and it just filled up so quickly. And I remember we were the first ones out. I think, no, we were the second match, I believe. And just walking out and just seeing the whole crowd, it just reminded me of like me as a kid, just looking out, watching on like TV, just watching wrestling. So it kind of just like reminded me of why I wanted to do this, of why I wanted to wrestle.
That is so cool. Yeah. So, like, how was it? Like, I know I had actually touched with Spencer Scott on kind of like performing outside, and he said that it feels different. You know what I mean? So like,
Right.
how is it for you? Like, do you like working outside? Like, what is the major difference between working in a building and actually working outside?
I prefer, listen, if it's a hot 90 degrees temperature day, I would love to go outside. But when it's raining, heck no. So I love to wrestle outside if it's sunny. But I think Spencer, I don't know, what did he say? Spencer likes to perform outside or inside?
He said that he
He,
doesn't mind either being either inside or outside, but he finds the
okay,
outside shows is like a little bit different feeling as compared to being
right.
inside.
No, I definitely agree with him. I definitely agree with him. My favorites are the outside, but I feel like when you're on the outside, it does feel different because I feel like the crowd's just louder and it echoes around the whole like block. So it's it gets you a little bit more pumped up when you're outside.
Mhm. That is so cool. Yeah, I know. I had touched with Amira on going to San Francisco, and I had kind of noticed
Mhm.
with your My Story video, like you were kind of in like the same crowd. So like were you there during that event?
I was. Amira actually invited me to come out and she got me an opponent to wrestle over there, full queer. And yeah, I remember that event. That was a lot of fun. That it was definitely an experience, and I would love to do it again in San Francisco.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Because in your, like, My Story video, like, you go up and you kind of, like, drop this elbow on somebody, and it looks so
Right.
good on camera, like, it is freaking awesome. So, like, how was your time being in San Francisco? Is that kind of like a city that you can kind of adapt to?
I would love to wrestle in San Francisco. I remember we went with s- who it was Amira, and I believe it was Salem. Sorry, Abigail.
Mhm.
Abigail Warren, and yeah, we had a fun time. I remember that time was so much fun. I definitely forgot about that trip. Oh my God, I might have to add that to my favorite memories. But yeah, that was an incredible trip, and I loved it, honestly.
That is so cool.
I
Well,
totally forgot about that trip. Thank you for reminding me.
yeah. Yeah. So, here's a question. So, like, what are some inspirational wrestlers that you carry with yourself and your character that, like, when you saw them, you're like, that is who I want to be like?
Right. Um, I when I got into wrestling, I saw the Boogeyman as a unique character, so I just knew that I had to be a unique character, and I had to set myself a different from the other people. So I remember just looking at him, just like that guy is scary, and I do not want to be like him. So I was just like, you know what? What's a part of my personality that I like? And I'm just like, I'm a little bit flamboyant, I'm a little bit funny, I love to dance, and I love to, be that guy. So I kind of looked up like not really men's wrestling, but like more women's wrestling and how they acted and how they moved. And I was just like, you know what? I kind of had to mimic how they move. So one on there was definitely Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella was definitely my one like motivations like on how to be like more like that character and being like that sexy flamboyant side. So definitely like that those wrestlers definitely influence how I am today.
That is so cool. So, like, if you could kind of make up your own like Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, what would it be?
Mount Rushmore. Oh, okay.
Mm.
So that's a good question. How many picks do I have?
I think
Four,
4.
right?
Hmm.
Five. Four. Okay.
Hmm.
So obviously Eddie Guerrero has to go up there because OPW is just full of Eddie Guerrero. Um, I remember watching wrestling, and Edge was one of my favorites. I remember seeing John Cena versus Edge at Unforgiven, and that is what also hooked me on wrestling. And watching him going into Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22 when he speared Mick Foley through the table and it was flaming. Oh, that was an incredible moment. So Edge is definitely on there. Rey
Hmm.
Mysterio. Uh, so it's Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Edge, and one last one. So well, let's be unique. Add one more up there, and let's make it a female, and we'll make it. Let's make it Trish Stratus, because Trish Stratus was also one of my favorites when I was growing up.
That is really cool. So, like, do you remember the actual like first WrestleMania that you actually saw?
Yeah, I do. My dad brought me. I remember he bought me a WrestleMania 22 DVD, and that was the first time I ever watched pro wrestling, and I fell in love with it, and I haven't stopped watching it since.
That is insane. Like to me, like that is the most perfect time to get into professional wrestling, like because of Rey Mysterio and Eddie
Right.
Guerrero and that whole story. And then, like you said, with Edge and
Exactly.
Mankind, and then the Money in the Bank ladder match, like it was the most absolute perfect time to actually get into professional wrestling. And like, did you grow up like kind of like watching like the pay-per-views with I apologize. I forgot his name, but like actually like watching all of that. So, like, were you like really excited every time that there was a pay per view coming up?
No, I was. I definitely was. I remember I would always go on the YouTube videos and I would watch like predictions of like what other people thought and I'd see their perspective. And like
Mhm.
I'd be like so excited because I'd be like, oh my God, who's gonna win? Oh my God, oh my God. So yeah, I was always that fan that just be on the web, just like looking at other people's perspectives and seeing what could happen, Just like kind of fortune telling the match, seeing what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that is one of like the most fun things about pro wrestling is the predictions and getting into exactly what's happening or what's happening to this
Right.
character. So like
Sorry,
what
my
is
dog is
the
barking.
no, no, it's totally good. So, like, what is one aspect of professional wrestling that you enjoy like the most, and that you would actually share with other people when it came to them going out and looking into pro wrestling?
Right. Hey, chill. Sorry. Well, let me give her a treat. She has been
No,
so
no, it's good.
stubborn.
Is
No,
that Kahlua?
hold on. So I think so, yeah, it is Kahlua. Oh my God, I'm so proud that you know that. I'm so happy you actually know that. That's awesome. Thank you. Uh, so one thing I would cherish with about wrestling is that I feel like people don't see the I feel like when you watch it, you just see two people being up each other, but it's not just two people being up each other.
Mhm,
It's more than that. It's more about like story based. It's more character based. It's That's what gets you hooked. It's not just what's the wrestling, you know?
mhm,
So I think that's what all the wrestling's about. It's another TV show. It's another thing you watch. It's another sport you watch. It's like another football.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, I feel like it's more than just two people being up each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I kind of want to ask you. Is like when I was interviewing Jaden, I was telling him about how there's this certain competition backstage that a lot of people don't really know about, even though he
Right,
said that it's kind of more of a
right,
unspoken version of competition. And like there are people out there that will say
right,
that professional wrestling like isn't a sport. But when you look at that competition,
right,
like that's what makes a sport is the competition. You know what I mean? So it's like, is there like that
right.
aspect of pro wrestling where you kind of believe that like it is actually should be viewed as a sport?
Yeah, honestly, because I feel like you're putting your body on the line. I've had both of my elbows injured because of pro wrestling. So I feel like at the end of the day, it is a sport because, again, you're putting your body on the line. You're training every single day just to put on a show for the fans. And I feel like that's what you do in football. You train every single day to put on a good show for the fans.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that is insane. I know the other week we like you guys were kind of building towards like we got heat coming up in
Right,
August, and you're gonna be facing Jaden
right.
in like a triple threat match, and you actually posted like calling Hobbs, like kind of like a
All right.
little
I
jab
know.
there.
Oh my God, he was so mad at me about that. Oh my God. Yeah, you know what,
Oh.
Jaden? You're gonna get it. And I promise you, I'm gonna get that dub. And he's probably watching this right now. He's probably gonna be like, Jose, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Oh man. So like how do you kind of like go through that with like interacting with other wrestlers on Twitter and trying to like build something and whatnot?
I think at the end of the day, we all have that similarity, and it's pro wrestling, and we're doing it. So I feel like we all kind of understand each other, and we all kind of get that sympathy for each other. So we instantly connect, and I feel like it's with any wrestler, honestly. So
Hmm,
yeah,
interesting. So here's a question. So back when I had actually first interviewed Drexel, that was like a like bucket list moment for me. You know what I mean? So like shout out Drexel. Like
right.
thank you very, very much for that moment. Is there any moments that like you
Right.
have as like a bucket list like on your career? And like have you accomplished one of them?
Y You know what? One of them was definitely wrestling in Portland, and I crossed that one off the list. And just one silly fact about me, and I don't think I've ever told anyone this, not even Spencer, but one of my biggest goals to this day, and it's super silly, is to be on Dancing with the Stars. Because I always watch that show, and I'm just like, you know what? One day I'm gonna make it, and one day I'm gonna kick the heck out of everybody, kick out all the competition. I'm gonna get that mirror ball. So.
Yeah.
That's one of my silly goals, but yeah, honestly, it's crazy. It's still mind blowing that I'm still doing pro wrestling. I still feel like that 10-year-old kid just watching.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, what was your reaction to, Chris Jericho being on Dancing with the Stars?
It was crazy. I was so surprised. I was just like, you know what? Go him.
Oh, man, that is so awesome. So, let's, kind of talk about, Kahlua a little bit. So, like, when did you get
Yeah.
your pet?
I got her when I moved, so we kind of just like we've been stuck together ever since COVID. Ever since I moved for pro wrestling, and she's been by my side forever, and I love her to death. That girl can give so much love, and I don't know how to give it back to her. I would kiss her so much, but she obviously has like unlimited love to give, and I couldn't be more thankful for her, honestly. I love her to the death.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a pug, correct?
Yeah, yeah, she
Yeah.
snores. So if you're trying to get a pug, anyone, they snore. So if you like sleeping, I would not recommend it.
Oh man, well that is awesome. Well, before we actually end up closing everything out, I just want to ask you, man, like, what does professional wrestling mean to you?
I think it means so much to me because I feel like it's been my dream ever since I was a kid. It's been what I want to do ever since a kid. Like at career day, I remember when I was a kid, I would tell the teachers I wouldn't want to do any of this. Like they'd bring all the cops, they'd bring all the firefighters, and I'd tell them no, I don't want to go to it because I want to be. And it's the most important thing in my life. I love it. I met so many incredible people because of it, and I wouldn't change it for the world, honestly.
That is so awesome. Well, I apologize. Just like when I was talking with Delmy, and I know I wanted to ask you like a final question, but like, what would be one more piece of advice that you would actually give somebody who isn't a professional wrestler who wants to become one? What is something that you would tell them personally?
Um, don't give up, dude. Don't give up. At the end of the day, at the end of the line, at the end of the road, it's gonna be a big light and it's gonna be your dream and you're working towards that. So don't give up. Please do not give up. Don't give up for yourself, don't give up for your family. Just don't give up.
That is freaking awesome, man. Well, I just want to thank you so very much for actually coming back and joining us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit down and talk with you.
I really appreciate it, Cody. Thank you for inviting me, and I would love to do this again. Invite me back again, please. I would love to come back.
That is freaking awesome. We will definitely have to do that. And I hope you have a very, very good night. And I cannot wait to see you on August 6th.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I will see you at DOA.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye. Well, all right, you guys. So that was Interesting's podcast interview with ZAYE Perez. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And remember, July 25th at 12 p.m. PST, Interesting Podcast is going to be interviewing Rashad Tyson. This is going to be another interview you guys are not going to want to miss. So make sure you guys ring that notification bell so you guys get notified when we go live. I'll catch you guys.